Just to kind of give you a brief history of this item, so that for those members that weren't on council when it occurred, this started in 2019 when the city received coronavirus funds through the CARES Act through their CDBG entitlement allocation. We've received 2 allocations so far. The first one, we made an amendment to the annual action plan, and council approved in September of 2020, and those funds were used to fund our mortgage and utility reimbursement program and our foreclosure and eviction counseling program. The second allocation was, again, an amendment to our 2019 annual action plan. Those funds council approved in 2021, and it was for the acquisition or rehabilitation of a facility to address the needs of the homeless community to prevent, prepare for, or respond to COVID. In August, we released an RFP for that project. There were some specific criteria, threshold, that the recipients had to meet. It had to be located within the city, because as an entitlement community, our funds can only be spent within the city limits. It had to be located in a special flood hazard area, or it could not be located in a special flood hazard area. Applicant had to be a not-for-profit, demonstrate a response to COVID, serve a low-income household, and provide new or expanded units for the homeless community. We issued an RFP. We sent it to over 100 respondents, including everyone who had received funding from the city through the ARPA allocation, and then some additional nonprofit homeless service providers in the community, just to make sure that we did make a broad outreach. We had 2 applicants. One applicant withdrew, so we moved forward with the responsive applicant. And the project they proposed, which is before you as this item, is to purchase 1551 West Blunt Street. It is a 12-unit single-room occupancy with a common kitchen and living meeting area and office space. These will be rental units to income qualifying homeless households. The total project cost is $370,501. They will have to do monthly reporting to us prior to completing the project, and at project completion there will be 5 years of monitoring to ensure that the property is continued to use for the proposed item. They will also be providing annual rental project occupancy reports, and there is an appraisal as part of the backup, and in the appraisal they note that in as-is conditions, because it is noted that the facility needs rehabilitation. And as in conditions, they appraised it at $410,000, and obviously current value without defects was $510,000. So the project price is below the current appraised value. And I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have any for me, or we can take it up on Thursday.
Councilman Bear.
Thank you, Mr. President. And you've already answered some of my questions. I went out and visited the site and was a little bit surprised because I didn't realize there was a camp in the backyard. But is that going to continue even when this building is purchased?
Currently, that site is being operated by REAP. It was their safe outside shelter. Camp 1 is what it's referred to, and that will really be part of their programming and what they will present to us as part of their marketing plan.
Okay, for this particular project?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. There's not a lot of parking there. I mean, I counted the spaces, and if you take out the disabled parking, there's not enough for the number of residents, and I would imagine that, you know, if they don't have the money to be able to afford a high rent, they probably may not have vehicles, but I don't know what the arrangement is for the people that live in the back, if they're allowed to have vehicles, but I think there's a total of 12 maybe, and that's with the disabled spots included, so I'm kind of concerned. There's not really any on-street parking around there either, so.
Parking is something that we could ask them to address in their plans when they present plans to us.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilwoman Breyer.
So I know this building has had past issues. There had been some concerns about its stability. Those have been addressed in the past.
It's still in need of rehab, just to be clear.
But the stability of it was stabilized when there were concerns before. I know there was a lawsuit previously to require the stabilization of that building.
The lawsuit has been settled, but I don't know that the actual repairs have been addressed.
Okay.
And so that really will be all part of what REAP will be doing with their rehab, and they've indicated to us that they will be using other funding sources for that.
Okay. Thank you.
And then prior to us expending any of our city funds, we'll have to have receipt and proof of that, of how
Okay.
they're going to be moving forward.
And then to what Councilman Bear was noting, so that was when we relocated underneath the I-10 bridge, is when Camp One gratefully opened, and we were in dire straits at that time and did need that. Is that is continuing on a long-term basis?
They do have other facilities where some of those individuals could be moved, but I anticipate that through the process of screening individuals to move into this facility, they will take that into consideration.
Thank you.
So, I will keep my questions short and wait until Monday. I don't support it at all. I mean, until Thursday, but I don't support it at all. Why couldn't we pull it and allow other agencies to apply? Since you only had two, one of them withdrew, the other one is up under an audit. So why couldn't we pull it and repost it to have other agencies, give other agencies an opportunity?
We did, as I stated, and it's part of your backup, we did send it out to over 100 agencies and really provided it to pretty much all the nonprofit providers in our community. I don't know that you would get a broader selection. It went to people like Dream Center, Fearless Communities, Waterfront Rescue Mission, Lakeview Center. So they all were notified, and then we also sent it, like I said, out to everyone that was on the, participates on the Housing Subcommittee Homeless Task Force. So I don't know that we would get a broader response, to be honest, Council President. I mean,
Well,
it's
I've
possible,
spoken to
but
several, and they didn't even know about it. Who owns the property?
it's owned by Pathways for Change.
And who owns Pathway for Change?
Ms. Bookman is the executive director for that.
I'll take it up on Thursday. Any other questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you, President.